big fight announcement. Jiri Prochazka versus Alex Pereira is official. It's going to be happening on UFC 295, which is November 11th, as the co-main event under Jon Jones versus Stipe Miocic. Jiri versus Alex is my second most anticipated fight of the year, right after Islam versus Oliveira 2. This is the second best and most exciting fight of the year. I think it's way better than Jones versus Stipe, but I understand why Jones versus Stipe is the main event over this. Jones is a big star. You have the greatest light heavyweight versus the greatest heavyweight, and one of them is the undisputed champion defending his belt rather than fighting for a vacant title. UFC 295 may be the best pay-per-view of the year. At least the lineup looks like it. Because in my opinion, Jiri versus Pereira is one of the best fights you can have. It's between two of the most exciting fighters on the roster, two powerful knockout artists who fight in a very different kind of manner. Jiri is so unorthodox and unpredictable. He doesn't really fight too much by the fundamentals. He's trying to go that way more so now, but he still has this unique style that can be very awkward to approach. And then you have Alex Pereira, who's a master of fundamentals, one of the greatest kickboxers of all time. Sticks with the meat and potatoes of the game, but does have a unique stance. He stands in a weird way, almost square to you, both hands in front of you, and because of that, it's hard to see his leg kicks, because it's not a big wind-up, and sometimes it can be hard to see his punches, because they're both coming out from the same positions. So we're gonna see the fire punch versus the left hook. Jiri is such a character, man. And he's returning off a layoff. He had a very bad shoulder injury, which kept him out for like a year, and I really hope he's gonna come back okay. Because when you look at Johnny Walker, for an example, Johnny Walker had a bad shoulder injury, and after that, he started losing all over the place. Was that because of his injury, or was it because the better opponents he was going up against afterward? Was it too soon for him to come back after the shoulder injury and fight some contenders like Corey Anderson? Well, now Jiri Prochazka is coming back from a shoulder injury, and he's going up against the number 2 ranked fighter in the world, the former middleweight champion, 2-division Glory Kickboxing world champion. If these two guys make one mistake, the fight could be over. You're going to be sitting on the edge of your seat the whole time, shaking with anticipation. What is going to happen here? One punch and this fight can end. If Prochazka swings that left hook and misses, Jiri's going to crack him with a right straight and put him down. If Jiri enters in too quickly, he could eat a counter left hook or a counter uppercut and get put down himself. It's hard to imagine this fight go 5 rounds. I know we said that about Glover versus Jiri, and it's still crazy to think about that those two fighters went to the 5th round, but it's a different case than this fight. When we thought that Glover and Jiri couldn't go 5 rounds, it was because we didn't think Jiri could survive on the ground, and we thought Glover couldn't take a shot from Jiri. And thankfully, both those did not turn out to be true. Jiri did very well on the ground. Glover took a lot of big shots and was able to go to the 5th round. But this is a little bit different. We know Pereira has fight-ending power, and we know Jiri has the same. But I have a bad feeling Jiri's going to expose himself and get countered, because he's usually the guy that's initiating action. He's usually the guy that's moving forward first. And with that kind of aggression, it could doom him for a knockout, because he is so defenseless when he's throwing punches. Pereira sometimes could be defenseless, like when he got knocked out by Israel Adesanya. He was throwing punches, not defending himself that well. But I think because he saw a knockout finish here, he was unloading with everything he could and didn't really mind defense at that moment. But against Jiri, I don't think he's going to do something like that. He would have to know that Jiri is the kind of fighter that could come back from anything. Jiri is the kind of fighter that you can't just barrage and knock out. You have to counter this guy coming in or hit him with the 1-2 if he's doing his whole chakra stuff. And I know that's very funny to say, it's very silly, but it's actually what he does. He will lower his hand, hold on to it, exposing his chin, and that's how Glover even caught him. Glover hit him with a straight right to the jaw, rocking him in that 5th round because Jiri was channeling his chakra. Now this fight gets flipped all the way around if Jiri takes the fight to the ground. If Jiri has the kind of takedowns to put this guy to his back, I think Jiri can actually win this because he also has 5-round cardio. And it's not going to be in high elevation like when Pereira fought Jan Blachowicz. Pereira and Jan Blachowicz are not at 100% fighting a high elevation like that, and both guys were going to get tired, but it showed you that even in high elevation, Pereira's cardio is so good that he can go 3 rounds without gassing out. These guys are going to be fighting in New York, which is around sea level. Both guys are definitely going to have 5-round cardio. We saw Jiri go at an incredible pace for 5 rounds against Glover Teixeira, and I don't see that happening for this fight. I see, even though I love both fighters, I love watching them fight, I really hope neither of these guys will lose. One of them is going to get annihilated out there. One of these guys are going to take a big shot and fall to the mat, and I think it's probably going to be Jiri. Jiri has a lot of things going against him. He has the layoff. He's coming off an injury. His style is very open to get countered by by Pereira specifically, whereas Pereira just had experience fighting Jan Blachowicz. He didn't take that much damage in that fight. He's been a lot more active and he's not as injured. He's also learning from a rapid pace. He was getting up from the ground against Jan Blachowicz. Nobody thought that would be possible. If Jan was taken into the ground, everybody thought that he would dominate on top, but that wasn't necessarily the case. Alex Pereira's grappling defense did surprise a lot of fans in that fight. So how do I see this fight going? I see both guys waiting out for each other, maybe feeling out the first 30 seconds. And then Jiri explodes forward, throwing jabs, trying to catch him with the right straight, moving awkwardly, taking off weird angles. I see Alex kicking his leg a couple times as Jiri gets heavy on it. And then Jiri initiates that first exchange with his hands. He goes forward, darts in for the straight right to get past the leg kicks. And he could catch Alex, punching him right over it to the chin and putting him down. Kind of similar to what Khalil Roundtree did to Go Kansaki. Something like that. And as soon as he darts in with the right, that's where a lot of this is going to unfold. Does he catch Pereira and set that into motion, or does he get countered? I have a feeling because of Pereira's precision here, man, it's already giving me goosebumps thinking about it. That first exchange is going to be so crazy. I'm going to be ducking and dodging while watching the screen. I think Pereira, for how precise that he is and how powerful he is, I think it's more likely he catches Jiri with a counter and puts him down than Jiri catching him. But I don't know, man. This fight is so hard to predict. Any Jiri Prochazka fight is hard to predict, and this one is just especially difficult. Would you guys be surprised if Jiri just shot for a takedown right away? Pereira's also going to damage that leg. We know Jiri likes to put a lot of weight on his front leg sometimes. He leans over and shows his head with his hands down and looks to bait you in for his own counterpunch. At those moments, I don't see Pereira taking the bait. I see him kicking out that heavy leg. We know the kind of damage this guy causes with leg kicks. Look at the welt he put on Jan Blachowicz's front leg with his leg kicks. The guy that's supposed to be one of the best kick checkers in the UFC. And Pereira was destroying his front leg. Look what he did to Adesanya's legs. Jiri's going to be taking a lot of damage if he's not initiating or bouncing around. Which leads me to believe even more so that Pereira is probably going to win this, but I just don't know, man. Any exchange in this fight changes it completely. Jiri can catch him with a darting straight right. He could catch him with an uppercut or some crazy punch from a weird angle and just knock this guy out. That's why we love this fight so much. So my early prediction, I am going to go with Alex Pereira becoming the 2-division UFC champion, replicating what he did in kickboxing, and going down as probably the greatest combat sports athlete of all time. There's a special kind of legacy happening right here. For a guy that has so little fights in MMA, he is going to be going down as one of the greatest to ever do it in such a short amount of time. And if he wins that second belt, there is not a fighter ever in the past, and I would even say probably in the future, that would be able to win 2 belts as fast as Pereira did. We're talking about his 11th professional fight, winning 2 belts. And that would be his 7th UFC fight. Unheard of stuff, man. So I cannot wait for this fight. Leave in the comments below, what do you guys think about it? Who do you have winning this? Do you think Jiri's going to catch him? Do you think Jiri's going to take him to the ground? Or will Pereira find that one big shot and put him out? And I'll see you guys in the next video.